Luke Beasley just gets torpedoed by Tim Pool because he pretends to know what he's talking about, and he gets absolutely trapped.
What do you mean, George Floyd?
What happened with George Floyd?
Are you going to make the fentanyl case?
I'm not going to make it. I'm going to ask you what you think happened.
You're the one who brought it up. I was just curious what your belief was about it.
Yeah.
I think that someone kneeled. I think
he brought it up, and so he asked you about it, and then you asked him back. And I'm just curious about what your opinion is on it.
I think you don't have one. I think you don't know what to say.
When trapped, he tries to act as though he's maintaining the frame with sarcasm.
If you can't define what
any data that stop it. If I
stop what? Define it. Define it. Stop. Define right wing.
If I took the time to properly write out a definition.
The same technique David Pakman uses. This guy has spent a lot of time with David Pakman. Some people call him a David Pakman clone because he's using the same techniques, but they are weak techniques and they just dissolve.
I'm only going to speak on things I'm very informed on, so I'm not going to tell you exactly to the month that they should get.
If you don't have a thought on how long they should be in prison, it's fine to say.
This is what you do a lot, though?
It's fine to say, like, if we don't know how the pardon.
If your argument fails, you're just going to ask hyper-specific, slightly irrelevant questions to me.
How is it irrelevant?
And Luke Beasley just continues to play stupid. It's this dismissal of evidence that is so alarming, and which is why I think this debate resonated with so many people.
How is it irrelevant?
Because I don't think it's relevant for me to figure out, because I didn't sit in these courtrooms and listen to the details of every case, exactly how long each one should be.
How could you advocate for someone to be in jail if you don't know?
Well, I can tell you. Because Trump is saying we should subvert that process because he thinks what they did was patriotic and should then pardon them.
Trump is not conducting these pardons because he feels that what occurred on that day was good. I think it's that he feels that it was unfair. That's a big difference.
Or I think 3 years is long enough.
Yeah, and that's a wrong stance, but okay.
How is it wrong?
I just explained it to you.
No. You didn't. You said the court process should play out the way it is.
You could literally count in this exchange how many times Luke Beasley says, I just explained it to you, therefore I don't need to articulate it again. It's like, Tim Pool does a good job of not letting him get away with that. He says, no, you didn't. Explain it to me.
My opinion on the amount of time should be served for a crime is not just wrong because you like courts.
No, I get that.
You need to explain
I'm saying
why the time frame I'm asserting should be longer than 3 years.
No, I'm saying the default, you have to have overwhelming, compelling evidence that someone has been wronged to justify a president stepping in and saying, I'm subverting the justice system outcome.
Pardoning Hunter Biden disproves that argument right there, because where's the clear evidence that there was something deeply wrong with the accusations against Hunter Biden? That was just a family member taking care of his son, because he made that decision that was what he wanted to do.
Do you agree with that premise?
No.
That's a moral.
So you're making a fascist argument.
A fascist argument?
You are making the fascist argument that the hierarchical structure of government is just and should be upheld regardless.
Why? Okay, I'm not going to ask that.
This Luke Beasley guy clearly is leaning into the story he wants to be true. This is where Tim just lays into him.
If you've got somebody on a misdemeanor charge who's been held without trial, a pardon makes perfect sense, unless you're a fascist and the system is just. So it's like Benjamin Franklin, who said it is better that 100 guilty persons escape than one innocent person suffer. You've taken the Otto von Bismarck approach of it is better that 10 innocent people suffer than one guilty person escape.
No.
Yeah.
Well, okay, you have.
No,
right?
I
So
haven't.
No, stop. You don't know anything about these January 6 cases. You don't know why these people are in jail. You don't know that a man is in Brooklyn right now for 3 years without charge or trial. And when Donald Trump says these people have been held for too long, you say, no, Trump is wrong. Keep them locked up. That's fucking fascist.
This is a perfect example of someone choosing to be confused when it suits them. It actually takes effort to be this confused by such simple concepts.
When did Trump justify violence?
I thought we just went through that.
We didn't. I asked you for examples and you said, I don't know. Just squint at me. Tell me what you think.
No,
It's like whenever you don't have an answer, you just get confused and say, what are you talking about?
You can only lose if you're playing to win. If your pursuit is truth, there's no such thing as losing. There's only growth.
Now you say that Donald Trump saying the injustice that we've seen warrants commutation or pardons. You say that means he's advocating for violence.
If you have not fully thought something through, to declare that something is true, I mean, that's really the essence of what this channel is all about. It's what launched this channel, and it's the continual repetition of that pattern. It's so easy to fall victim to that trap, and this is what it looks like.
Why is Enrique Tarrio in prison?
Yeah, so they uncovered with him his plot to overthrow the
plot?
government.
Enrique Tarry's?
Yeah, and his organization.
What plot? Who's they? Give me some
prosecutors.
Give me some fucking data. Stop squinting at me and saying the prosecutors did a thing. You didn't know. You didn't read it. You didn't read the court papers. All you know is the fascist machine state told you he should be in prison, and you're saying yes to them.
This is a battle over the role of actual evidence. Luke Beasley tries to claim that citing actual evidence is anecdotal evidence and dismiss that. It's about how Luke claims that he believes a story, even though he really clearly doesn't have a full understanding of the story. So then the question is, why do you believe that story without any evidence? Why do you clearly want the story to be true?
I believe
You believe Eugene Carroll's story?
Yeah.
You really do? Mm-hmm. Come on.
I don't know why she would have witnesses that she called immediately after.
How did she get in the room?
How did she get in the room?
How did she get in the dressing room? Bergdorf Goodman locks their dressing rooms.
I'm assuming it was open.
No, they don't know. It wasn't answered. They said, we don't know. It doesn't make sense. How was she wearing a dress that didn't come out till a few years later?
The reason Tim Pool is so effective right here is that he's asking logical questions that don't add up.
A lot of questions that were litigated in front of
Weird, right? Why didn't Trump bring her to the hotel he owned across the street?
Yeah. I'm not really interested.
How come
in
no?
litigating
How
the whole
come?
case.
It's remarkable when he says, I'm not really interested. That seems to be a defense mechanism he continues to use when challenged.
How come? But you believe it?
No, I'm stating. Oh yes, I do believe it.
Because David Pakman does the same thing as a way of just not contending with it and trying to keep the upper hand and look like he's in control, like he's maintaining the frame of the conversation. I'd be like, yeah, isn't that crazy? In this sarcastic way, as though he's kind of above it.
You could
Nobody recognized the most famous man in New York walking into the Bergdorf
Isn't
Goodman.
that crazy?
You believe it? Mm-hmm. That's funny.
It's also substantiated by the fact that a bunch of people have had such interactions with Trump.
Where have you heard that before? A bunch of people have said this, so it must be true.
You believe Christina Hoff Sommers too?
I think Tim Pool meant Christine Blasey Ford because he's talking about Brett Kavanaugh. So this was a slip up. Perhaps that's why Luke gets confused here.
I don't actually know that case.
That was the Brett Kavanaugh one.
Oh yeah.
But as soon as he brings in Brett Kavanaugh, he understands what the case is.
You do believe her?
It has been yes.
Then watch what happens.
That she was afraid to fly,
Yes.
but she flew several times for vacation?
Yeah, people are afraid to fly.
You believe that she installed the second door in her home because she needed an escape?
I have to tell you,
But then she Airbnb'd it out.
especially on that case, I would only want to debate it if I'd freshened up on the details of it.
If you're not freshened up on the details and you can't answer these basic questions, why do you, at the very front, say you believe it? So now the pattern is about to repeat again with George Floyd.
What do you mean, George Floyd?
What happened with George Floyd?
Are you going to make the fentanyl case?
I'm not going to I'm going to ask you what you think happened.
Then he just doesn't have a response, and then he acts incredulous, like, what a silly game to play, Tim. How could you possibly ask me that?
You're the one who brought it up. I was just curious what your belief was about it.
Yeah.
I think that someone kneeled. I think
He brought it up, and so he asked you about it, and then you asked him back. And I'm just curious about what your opinion is on it.
I think you don't have one. I think you don't know what to say. I think.
I do know what to say.
I think
Derek
you're scared
Chauvin.
that if you say the wrong thing, someone's going to.
No, I'll talk. Sure. Derek Chauvin caused George Floyd to die because he had his knee on George Floyd's back neck area.
And what did that do?
Killed him.
No, but I mean, like, what's the medical examiner's reasoning?
Is it suffocation? Is the technical term?
No, I don't think you know what you're talking about. I think you have a surface level tribal position where you didn't actually research most of these things, and you're just saying what you think you need to say.
You can only lose if you're playing to win. If your pursuit is truth, there's no such thing as losing, there's only growth. This is the perfect example of that. Luke Beasley just gets torpedoed by Tim Pool because he pretends to know what he's talking about, and he gets absolutely trapped.